This is the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Welcome to another edition of the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. I am your host, John Solberg, and this edition is being brought to you by The Butcher Shop. The Butcher Shop is the home of the A9 Master Kobe briskets, where they are always handpicked for you. This father and son team has operated this retail meat market in Pensacola, Florida for the past 15 years. Kevin and Jordan ship nationwide to the biggest names in barbecue. The A9 brisket has won both sides of the American Royal Cook-Off. That happened in 2019. They also ship some of the finest prime, dry-aged Australian Wagyu and Japanese Wagyu steaks to people just like you and me who aspire to be the kings of their backyards. The Butcher Shop always has Berkshire, Compart Duroc, Allegiance Duroc, and Prairie Fresh all-natural pork in stock, and again, always handpicked for you. Now, are you into wild game items such as bison, venison, elk, ostrich? How about some camel? Have you been searching for those 10 to 12 pound boneless turkey breasts featured on Hot Barbecue Right? The Butcher Shop has them in stock and they are ready to ship to you today. So whether you're looking for the best competition, briskets, ribs, or pork butts, or you just want to have a better option to cook at home, the Butcher Shop has what you need. Give them a call today, 850-458-8782. That's 850-458-8782. Or you can reach out to them on their Facebook page, facebook.com/thebutchershop. Shop is spelled S-H-O-P-P-E. And here's what's going on today from May the 14th, 2013. Andy Husbands, award-winning chef, restaurateur, author, and television personality. He's in to talk to Greg about his latest book at that time, Wicked Good Burgers. Let's get right to it. Here is Greg and Andy Husbands from May the 14th, 2013.
That's all right. My first guest in the second hour. Chef owner of Tremont 647 and Sister Sorrel, both located in Boston, Massachusetts. Also the co-author of one of the most, am I going to say one of the most biggest? I think my English teacher would slap the shit out of me. One of the biggest barbecue books to come out over the past few years, Wicked Good Barbecue, which he wrote with IQ Pitmaster Chris Hart. On the heels of that effort, they went back to the writing room and produced the newest effort, aptly named Wicked Good Burgers, which we'll be discussing tonight. So let's go ahead and race back over to the hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Andy Husbands. Andy, how are you, buddy?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing absolutely fabulous, Andy. Appreciate you asking. A bunch of different things we can talk about here tonight, but last time we spoke, we were discussing how well your book, Wicked Good Barbecue, was doing and how it was exceeding expectations and all of this great stuff. And then to follow up with it, no longer do we have to wait. I believe it was like April that it was released. Wicked Good Burgers hit the bookstore. How did you and Chris decide to go after the burgers versus some other kind of fare that you might hit on?
You know, well, Chris and I kind of always have a competitive nature with each other and kind of inspire each other to do better. And we got into a huge discussion about the better burger, kind of the better burger movement that's happening now and how to make the best burger. And from there, it just jumped to let's write a book about it.
Better burger movement. So what does that mean to you specifically?
So the better burger movement, and you guys, I'm sure, have it out there as well. We certainly have it in Boston and New York. You know, all these wonderful, great places. You know, we have Tasty Burger, Shake Shack, just places that are putting out these really great, high-quality burgers in a volume setting. That is what the better burger movement is. So it's moving away from your Burger Kings, your Wendy's, your McDonald's.
Absolutely. Andy Husbands joining us here on the show. Co-author Wicked Good Barbecue. Some websites for Andy. Tremont, T-R-E. Is it Tremont or Tremont? I'm sorry.
Either one works well.
All right.
Tremont or Tremont.
Tremont, and then the numeral 647.com. Also, fearlesschef.com if you want to check them out while we're talking. Andy, you're a fine dining chef by profession. One could look at you and burgers being, I guess, perhaps a bit divergent just through stereotypical thoughts. Have you always been a burger lover?
Yeah, I mean, burgers to me, you know, are more than than just a fuel for your body. To me, that smell that we smell in the summertime of grills lighting up and that wonderful charred smell we smell of meat is one of my favorite things, from early childhood. Who doesn't love a burger? It's an American institution.
So if I stroked you a blank check right now or gave you a $100 bill and said, go get your favorite burger, where is it located and what would it be?
Well, it would have to be located here, of course. Tremont 647. For me, the best burger is just really, good quality products on a great bun over some really high heat. That's probably your most important thing, is cooking it over good high heat. Well seasoned, of course.
Andy Howe's been joining us here on the show. There have been a few burger books that have come out over the past few years. One that jumps right to my mind, most notably, would be the Ted Reader's Everyday Gourmet Burger Book. How does Wicked Good Burgers differ from some of these other more recent burger efforts by other authors?
Well, of course, in one way it's the same. We're talking about some kind of vessel that's going to have some kind of meat product in between. But what Chris and I do is, and we did it in Wicked Good Barbecues, we really kind of bring it down to the bare bones. We bring it to you, really explain to you how to make the best quality burger or barbecue in Wicked Good Barbecue. Really want to teach people how to just make it the best. And we explain it very simply, and we think it out very thoroughly to come up with the best kind of recipes and solutions. So if you're asking what the difference is, of course I'm going to tell you ours is better, but I really think that we focus on technique, which is very important.
So what kind of a writing process is it for you and Chris? You guys have known each other, growing up in grade school and all that stuff. You say you're both very competitive. You like to have these engaging conversations, if we can say that nicely. Are you guys in the same office? Are you sending emails and documents back and forth? Is a little bit of both? How do you put this book together?
It's a little bit of both. Chris, luckily, him and I have a great relationship, so we try to, see each other whenever possible. It starts off by kind of hanging out and just talking about what if, and I wonder if we can, and what do you think about this? And then kind of writing on a list of recipes, editing, and then we kind of, him and I have similar and then also different strengths, so we'll kind of focus on what's going to work the best and who's going to be able to, this would be better if you wrote this is better if I wrote that. And then we just kind of separately go at it, yet together look at it, meaning that we kind of look at each other's recipes, we critique each other's recipes, and, support each other where necessary.
Were you guys on a strict deadline, or is this a kind of an at-your-pace book with some suggested times of turn?
I have never heard of a at-your-pace kind of book in my life. It's always a strict deadline. It's always, we want it yesterday. We love our editors. We love our publishers. But they have a timeline, and, if you want to get into about how books are done, they're investing time and energy and their resources in us to come up with a good product, and they want to be able to get a return on their investment. So, a quicker return is always better. So, they do want them quickly, but they also, give us the time to write them. You need a certain amount of time, because all of our recipes are written, but then they got to be edited. Then they've got to go get tested, and sometimes they need to get retested 3 times just to make sure they're perfect. So it does take time to write, 100 recipes for a book. But, probably about 6 months is what it takes to turn around a book.
Well, I was going to say, do you and Chris set up, test kitchens and really try each and every recipe in this book before it actually gets to print? Obviously, it sounds like it does. But, before you're submitting recipes and the book people are testing it, do you guys already have a bunch of this stuff that you have maybe put together in times past when you're, maybe at a barbecue competition, you're eating some burgers, on a Friday night, or where are all these recipes coming from?
A little bit of everything, from growing up around food. Both him and I have food families we've kind of grown up in, from, being curious about food to dining out. They kind of come from everywhere, based on other ways we've seen other things and other flavors. But, I would definitely say, though, in the testing process, one thing that's really important is, and yes, him and I have tested every single one, but what's also important is that we actually have somebody else test it, meaning that somebody else who's not familiar with the recipe, because that's who the recipes are written for people at home, for you. And we need to make sure that people understand them and can read them. Not that, because I understand what Chris is saying, but will you understand that? And that's what's most important to us. It's that the consumer is able to cook with it.
Andy Husband's joining us here on the show.
That's right. That was Andy Husbands, culinary legend. Head on over to the bbqcentralshow.com if you'd like to hear the rest of this show. Always a lot more information than I can bring you in 10 minutes or less. Don't forget, check out The Butcher Shop over on Facebook.com/The Butcher Shop. Shop is spelled SHOPPE. They are the home of the A9 brisket, and you're going to save 10% off your entire order by mentioning the Barbecue Central show. Do it. Get a hold of them. Get you some good brisket. Now's a great time to practice. Until next time on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less, I am your host, John Solberg. I look forward to talking to you again soon.